And the issue of the Commonwealth is very important. And that's another issue, because some of these countries, they said they don't want to be part of the Commonwealth. And, they are, I think there's one Caribbean country. Recently, there was an election or referendum whether people still want this republican system where the allegiance is to the Queen. And also, there are some countries...
that was the country that King Charles,
visited recently. I think there was a lot of outcry, people protesting that, look, we don't want the king or queen, anybody again. We just want to be our own country. And it's not limited to that alone. There are some countries in the Commonwealth, they don't even have a Supreme Court. Anytime they have a case, they have to apply to the Privy Council.
Yes.
We who sit on an appeal. There are some people who are protesting. And also, when you move around, and you see Australia High Commission, British High Commission, Nigeria High Commission. Is the only reason why we call them the High Commission is because they are part of the Commonwealth. Yeah. But if you are going to America now, they say American Embassy, Iranian Embassy, because they are not part of the Commonwealth. So, and there are some countries who are now waiting and said, look, now that we have a new king, this is a new time. This is a good time for us to say we don't want to be part of to sever the relationship and said, look, we don't want to be part of the Commonwealth. So there's going to be a lot of changes in the days and months ahead. Yeah. But in the next 10 days, there's going to be a state funeral on Monday, the 19th of September.
And he's going to give a speech on Friday.
And the new king, I think the new king is going to, the Ascension Council, they are going to sit today, and it's going to be presided by the new king. And then by tradition, the new king has to travel throughout the 4 nations that makes the United Kingdom and come back for the funeral. And after the funeral, then the new beginning will start thereafter. Whether, it's going to be a different approach to things, but I'm still of the belief that it's not going to be the same. And one thing, the important thing, I think Dr. Shiode actually mentioned that briefly. The Queen that passed away didn't have a mentor. But this new king was actually mentored by the mother, and you could see the closeness. Yeah. So it's not it's somebody who is already aware of the trust and cut of the whole monarchical system and what they are supposed to do, and it's going to be his own person.
Well, we was going to come to the point that people don't realize, especially going to the history of Britain or history of England, that the monarchy was not always there. And there was one time when they were sacked by the great Oliver Cromwell, when he removed King Charles and then went to the parliament and sacked everybody and saw the maze and said, what do I need with this bubble? And he just scratched everything. He became Lord Emperor of England. And then I think the son, King Charles, who became King Charles II, was also sent on exile. So they went away and all of that. But what is really interesting to me is that people do not understand that this same royalty that we are worshipping today was the great sinner of modern era, the great iniquity of modern era. They were the ones behind the slave trade. They started it with James II, and who was at that time Duke of York. They came with the African trade. They came to our continent here. All the disruptions that we have in all the kingdoms in West Africa and on. They took millions of our people there to go and make their wealth. They created the modern world that is tilted against the rest of us. I remember the quote, I was quoting it earlier. I didn't get the full quote from Daniel Defoe, who wrote was that novel Robinson Crusoe. He was a great critic of that time. He said, no African trade, no Negroes. No Negroes, no sugars, gingers, indigos, etc. No sugars, no islands. No islands, no continents. No continents, no trade. See, it is a quote that summarizes the modern era, how the blood and treasure of black people created the new world, and they, the monarchy, presided over it. They made loads and loads and loads of money. And some of the indulgence, the financial indulgence, the magnificence of decay that they enjoy today are all part of the world that we created for them.
Okay.
And so on. So I want people to understand this part of our history.
It's very important. Yeah. And I take his point when he said they are not always there. Because you recall that one of the queen cousins actually abdicated the throne in order to fall in love with an American woman. And Wally Simpson. Yes, thank you, Wally Simpson. So you see, they have their own fair share of whatever we are going through now, and the division among us and what have you. And that is why when you talk to those people who are anti-monarchy, they have a lot of arguments, and they say, look, we don't want these people, because if you look at their historical background, if you look at what has happened in the past, but notwithstanding, we have to live with it now. Yes. And that does not mean we should not pay tribute to the queen that passed away.
All right. Well, we're wrapping up gradually, but let me ask this, create this scenario to you, Alistair. Now, the king, King Charles II, he is of the old generation based on his age. And of course, like you said earlier, he's been trained and groomed and prepared to be king. But we know that anything can change. In the modern world where there's a lot of new things coming on board, is there a likelihood or possibility, just an imagination, that the king might want to maybe just step aside,
abdicate,
after a little while, and allow his son, Prince William, to become the next king?
Of course, anything can happen in the modern day, and subject to how he felt. And of course, I don't think it's something that can immediately happen within a couple of years, but probably even if he stayed until he's 96, he was only just about 23 years on the throne. So it is a very long shot, a very long way. But again, Prince William's young and able, if called upon, will do what he has to do. But again, when we now look at the political system in the United Kingdom, there's just too many crises for the political governance that the people are going through. So it will definitely be good for the king to sustain and survive for a long period rather than anything shorter. Because as I said, you have seen over the last probably 4 years, 3 prime ministers coming in. And now again, maybe in the next 2 years, there could be an election that may likely retain the new one that just emerged, Liz Truss, or the Labour Party can emerge. So the crisis within the political system is not as good as to think about the royalty stepping aside. The people will be really, really marginalized, and being British, being who they are, it will be a more pain on them than at any other given time. So I think it would be good for him to consolidate his position as King Charles III now, give the people new hope. This winter, if you follow the news, people are already crying on the challenges and the crisis they feel they are going to face, especially on the issue of the energy. And energy is very important, especially during the winter, because people need their homes to be heated up. And so there's lack of financial inflow for people's pocket.
All right.
And so anything that he will do to soften and give new hope to the people is, I think, what the British people will be looking forward to.
Okay. We have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Alistair Shoyode, founder of Ben TV London. Thank you for joining us on this program. We also thank you, Olufemi Aina, for coming on the program as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
And long live the
long live the king.
As we said, that place is high hands on kings. Scepters and crowns must tumble.